Hello and welcome to today's video. We're still in the series about microfinance and assessment skills. And this one is about startup budget and working budget. Two different things. So startup budget is not the total budget for the project. It's for the equipment or other upfront spending that will not be automatically recovered when the goods are sold. Look back at the hot dogs example we used earlier. The money for the buns, the sauce, and the hot dogs will all be recovered as soon as the hot dogs are sold. So you will sell for $5 each. So those things are not included in the startup expenses. But the cooker will not be paid back quickly from the sales of hot dogs. So the cooker is part of the startup budget. If you had to alter your kitchen to set up for the hot dog making, that would also be part of the startup budget. The working budget is the cost of the things you need every time you make the products to sell. The hot dogs, the buns, the sauce, etc. So question, the paint to paint the kitchen, which is going to be 100 baht, is that in the startup budget or in the working budget? And the answer is the startup budget, because you're not going to get that 100 baht back first time you sell the hot dogs. Okay, the hot dogs, the buns, the sauce to make the hot dogs, that's going to cost you 387 baht per 100 hot dogs. Is that startup budget or working budget? And the answer for that one, it's working budget, because as soon as you sell the hot dogs, you will get all that money that you've spent for the hot dogs, the buns, the sauce, you'll get that back straight away. Okay, you have to pay an electrician to set up a new electric wall plug for the cooker. It's going to cost 150 baht. Is that startup budget or working budget? And the answer for that one, startup budget. You're not going to get that 150 baht back straight away when you sell your first lot of hot dogs. Okay, you buy an extra container of water every time you cook hot dogs. Costs you 13 baht. Startup budget or working budget? And the answer, that is working budget, because you need it every time that you make hot dogs, and you will get it back as part of the money that the customers pay for the hot dogs. Okay, you have to buy an electric cooker. That's going to cost you 600 baht. Startup budget or working budget? And the answer, startup budget. You've got to pay that up front. You're not going to get the money back for a while from your profits from selling hot dogs. So here's the list. You can see on the left we have the startup ones. Electric cooker, 600 baht. The cost of the electrician to set up a new electric wall plug for the cooker, 150, plus the paint for the kitchen, that comes to a total of 850. And the working budget, the extra container of water when you make hot dogs, 13 baht, and the hot dogs, the buns, the sauce, and all those things, 387. So that's a total of 400 for the working budget. So why split spending into startup and non-startup? And the answer is because the non-startup money is used over and over again, but the startup money is used only once. So this diagram shows how the non-startup money, the working money, is used. You start at the top with cash, and then step one, you buy the supplies to make the hot dogs, so the buns and the sauce and the hot dogs themselves. So at the end of step one, you've used your cash. So step two, you make things for sale, you cook the hot dogs. So no cash involved there. Step 3, you set up your stall, no cash there. And then step 4, you sell things to the customers, you sell the hot dogs, and you get your cash back again. So you go around this circle and you get your cash that you started with back again, plus some more, which is your profit. Now this diagram is about how the startup money works. So you start with your cash in the top left-hand corner, you move right and you buy your equipment and so on, and then slowly you get back the cost of the equipment over a long period from the profit of your hot dogs, and it gets eventually back into cash, but it's a slow process. So here's an activity for you. You find a cheaper place to buy hot dogs, so the cost is only 287 baht per 100 hot dogs. Second, you decide to buy a better quality cooker, which will cost 800 baht. And third, you haven't got time to paint the kitchen yourself, so you have to pay someone 50 baht to do it. So, what would be the new startup and working budgets? So the picture there shows you the existing startup and working budget. What changes would you make based on those changes in what you're planning to do? You might have to just rewind here a little bit and see what those changes were again. I'm going forward. So the 600 for the electric cooker is going to be replaced by a 800 cooker. The 387 on the right for the hot dogs is now only going to cost 287. And you're going to have to pay somebody to paint the kitchen, so it's going to go up. You have to pay them an extra 50 on top of the cost of the paint, so that's going to go from 100 to 150. And of course the totals will change, so the startup budget is not 850 anymore, it's now 1,100. And the working budget is not 400 anymore, it's now only 300, because the hot dogs are cheaper. If they borrowed all the money, what would be the payback period if they could only sell hot dogs one time per month? And we're going to use the figures, the latest figures, the revised figures, not the original ones, the ones with the more expensive cooker and the cheaper, buying the hot dogs cheaper. Okay, so I'll give you a moment. You might want to pause here and have a think about this one. I'm going to go on with the answers. So if they borrowed all the money, they would borrow 1,400 baht for the total of both budgets together. So that's 1,100 for the startup plus 300 for the working budget. Each month they sell 100 hot dogs and they make 200 baht profit. 500 baht because they sell 100 for 5 baht each, minus the 300 baht that they have to pay to get the hot dogs. So the payback period would be 7 months. 1,400 that they borrowed divided by 200 baht profit per month equals 7 months. In the earlier diagram, the money goes round and round the circle every time you buy some hot dogs and sell them. If you sell all your hot dogs and buns and you make a profit on every sale, you should end up with more cash at the end of the day than you started with. For example, you buy 100 hot dogs and buns and so on for 300 baht, and your profit is 2 baht per hot dog. You sell them all in a day and you should end up with 500 baht. 200 more than you started with, and no buns, no hot dogs. That gives you 200 baht profit and still leaves you 300 baht to buy supplies for next time. Microfinance works on the idea that you use some of this profit to repay the loan. The rest you can do what you want with. This might include using part of it to buy more than 100 hot dogs next time. If you want to buy 120 hot dogs next time, you will need 345 baht. You have 300 set aside to buy 100, but you will need to save 45 baht out of the profit to buy the 20 extra hot dogs. Or, as an alternative, you could use the money to repay the loan faster than planned. Instead of 200 a month, you could pay more. Here's a little aside. Just notice how this example demonstrates the working of supply and demand. Because you believe there are more people who want to buy your hot dogs at the price you're selling for, so that's more demand, you, the supplier, want to make more hot dogs to meet that demand. So supply increases to meet the level of demand. Let's assume that you had none of your own money to start this business, and you borrowed all the startup budget, 1,100 baht, and all the non-startup budget, 300 baht. Total loan of 1,400 baht. Let's also assume that you can run your hot dog stall 5 times each month. So your expected profit is 1,000 baht per month. You have agreed with the lender to pay back 200 baht per month for 7 months, which will equal 1,400 baht that you borrowed. After you made 1,000 baht profit in the first month, you decided to use it like this. Firstly, 200 baht for the loan repayment. Then 45 baht to increase the number of hot dogs to 120 next time, because you could have sold more this time if you had that. And then 200 baht for your family to buy clothes for the children, and that leaves 555 baht that you're not spending, you're saving. So this shows the benefits of microfinance. The borrower ends up with more money to spend on what they want or to save. And after 7 months, when the loan is fully repaid, the amount you have to spend increases by 20 baht per month. The microfinancier gets the money back to lend to somebody else. So you have to pick the right projects that will be successful, because unsuccessful projects where they can't pay back the money destroy the process. And this is the end, my friends. See you next time.